The Second World War is the largest event in human history.
A 20-part series with Tom Hanks.
No part of the globe was untouched. No life unchanged.
Experience the ultimate account of World War II.
Every single person had a story. These are the stories that make us who we are.
Listen to World War II with Tom Hanks on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the Warriors Haven podcast, the place where discipline meets purpose and everyday people become unstoppable. I'm your host, Jeshia Sutherland, a retired Army drill sergeant, single mom, and the founder of the Warriors Haven. Around here, we talk fitness, mindset, and the mission of building a stronger you, mentally, physically, and financially. Because this isn't just about the gym. It's about life, leadership, and living on your terms. So gear up, lock in, and let's step into the haven where warriors are made. Today, I'm sitting with two men who have led at levels most people will never understand. A retiring Army colonel, strategic leadership, decades of command, responsibility at the highest level, and a retired command sergeant major, ground force leadership, culture builder, the backbone of discipline inside the ranks. Two different perspectives, one shared truth. Transition will test everything you thought you knew about yourself. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hey, Jay, thanks for having us on today.
Hi, Jay.
Of
How
course.
you doing?
Hi. So I've kind of broken this up, guys, into 5 segments. And then, of course, our closing, which I'm really excited about. And I don't think the listeners and the audience that we have all over the world are going to be ready for the gift and surprise later, but we'll get to that. So in these segments, this first one, I want to kind of talk about a little bit on identity and transition. And so let's start here, because this is where most people break and don't even realize it. Derek, I want to come to you first. Sure. You've spent your life leading at a high level. People look to you for direction, decisions, authority. So I want to ask you this honestly. What scared you most about transitioning out?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I often talk about this with my brother and my wife and all these folks is, what do I want to do when I grow up? That's the biggest thing that scared me the most is, the Army spent about a 30-year career, 29 plus years, so say 3 decades. And you kind of know where you're going. You're mapped out. In general, you kind of know where you're going, next job, where you're going to live, next post, yada, yada, yada. Now I don't know, right? And so that's the scary part. And then knowing that the resources you had at your fingertips with the Army or whatever service you're in, there's a lot of really great services I think that people just don't tap into or maybe realize that are there, that are not always going to be at your fingertips. It's hard. You're not going to be able to go, hey, I need to reach out to this person or this network, because that network may not be there anymore. And the other, I think the third one is always, work, where to live, finances, health insurance, all the things that didn't really have to worry too much about, because you kind of got told all that. And life, like health insurance is part of the job. You're getting paid. Kind of know where you're going to live. You got to pick a house, but you know exactly where you're going. Kind of thing. So, but I think the scariest thing is finding that new purpose, that new goal. What do I want to be when I grow up is the most significant thing that I think will challenge most folks.
Excellent. So follow up. Was there a moment where you realized I'm not in control the way I used to be?
So the Army has, I'll just say, it's dictated my career for the past 3 decades. So they've had control. I would say after this, and and again, there's a lot of folks that are retired, or like my brother's just retired, or folks like me that are retiring. It seems like that control is now back in my lap. So I think less about me losing control, but gaining more and not knowing what to do with it. That's the challenge, right? Like, that's the scary part. Like, I don't have to work. Maybe I do have to work. Where am I going to live? The Army's not telling me where to live. I don't want to do this job anymore. I could just quit, or I could do something or reframe it. Like, all these things are now that control's back in my lap, and I can kind of do and say what I want. That's also scary.
It is.
And so having that freedom is pretty amazing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Sorry, Major. TJ, I'm going to bring you in. You've spent decades enforcing discipline. So setting standards, shaping soldiers. So what happens when you're no longer the one setting the standard every day?
Yeah, so discipline of thought, word, and deed. That is my number 2 life principle. And everything begins with thought. What are we going to do today to make ourselves and the team better tomorrow? And then does our video match our audio? So my wife has designated me her trophy husband. So I'm still setting a standard, right? I've got to set the trophy husband standard. I can get fired from that job. I can't get fired as a husband, but I can lose the trophy status. So,
Oh, man.
Right, so on the standards piece, I gotta
get the participation
go to the
trophy.
gym, and right, not only do I have to go to the gym, but I have to cook, clean, do all the errands, do whatever it is that a trophy husband's got to do. Where as my wife's still bringing home the bacon, so to speak, bringing home the paycheck, which is good. After 32 years in the Army, I'm pretty excited about that. But for setting the standard for me is now I've got I am disciplined in what I do every day. I didn't just retire and say I'm just gonna not say quit on life, but just say it's kind of random way to move through life. That no, I still keep myself very disciplined when I sleep, what I'm going to be eating, and then what I'm going to do each and every day. So yeah, I'm still setting the standard for me, and then for all the trophy husbands out there, still rocking it.
Oh, I love it. So, sorry, Major, I want to go a little deeper here. What did you notice about soldiers who struggle the most after leaving service?
Yeah, I would say it's more towards the folks who've been either mid-grade to more senior in the military, because I think our junior folks coming out, they're still relatively young, especially in your 4 to 6 year mark. You're almost at just graduated college age, so you're not really too far from when you actually left home. But I'd say for more of those senior and mid-grade folks, it's they cannot let the anchor of the past go. They can't drop it. They're like, oh, I used to be this, I used to be this, I used to be that. That's all the extrinsic things that are still tied themselves to. And because they're still tied to this title, whatever, tied to whatever they were while they were in the service. Now they're struggling when they get out of the service. Like, I've got 2 ID cards. I've got a dependent ID card and a retired ID card. And the most powerful one is my dependent one, not my retiree. Because when I look at anything dealing with all things military, specifically when it comes to medical, my dependent ID card gets me to priority number 1. Families in service, active duty service members, service members. Retirees, you're all the way down at the bottom.
Yes.
You're really down at the bottom. And so people are struggling for that. Well, I used to come into executive health, specifically designed for general officers, flag officers, and for the nominative sergeants major who work for those GOs and flag officers. That was great. I could make a phone call with my man. It was super fast. Now I'm in the VA system. The VA's been really great. I don't use too much with the Army's service right here or the Air Force service here, because the VA system's been good for me. But it just takes a little more time. And so you have to understand that. And so for everybody that's out there is just cut the anchor, look at your intrinsic values, who you are, your own self-worth. Don't tie it to a title. Don't tie it to tie it to who you are as an individual. And that's what's going to help you out. Because if you don't, you are going to struggle. And that's where I see a lot of folks struggle, is because they're tying stuff to an extrinsic value and nothing internally intrinsic to them.
And I couldn't agree more, 100%. And the same thing with my dependent cards. My son has his dependent card, and I have my retirement card, and I see the same thing. I can call and make an appointment, and I'm out 30, 45 days. But if I call and make an appointment for my son, he's like the next day. You know what I mean? And so I see that also. And the same thing with my battle buddies. I have quite a few that are still struggling with that transition out, because it's still holding on to that prior of the military. And so I struggled with that for a while too, until, I really kind of was able to maneuver, bring that structure and that discipline back into my life. So I want you both to answer this one for me. And I want you guys to be real with it. Finish this sentence. The biggest lie we tell ourselves in the military about transition is. Derek, you go first.
All right.
Time. the time given to do it, right? And I think that's the big one. We often say, hey, we've got a year or 2 years to do this transition, but for those who've been going hard in the paint often, we tend not to do that, and we don't give ourselves enough time. We tell everybody to do it, but we don't. So that's the big lie we tell ourselves is we'll have time to do it on the back end. We'll have time to do it on the back end, but then when that back end comes, you just don't have time, and that's the challenge. And the last plug I want to put in for Tom, when you talk about the extrinsic, or the things that you tie yourself to, the worst offenders of people who want to tell you what they used to be, colonels. I was a colonel in the United States Army. Hey, thanks a lot. The operative word is retired, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what we talked about up front. It's like it's Derek and TJ, right? Like as I'm looking to retire, that's kind of the mindset you got to be in because, it's like, much like CrossFitters and vegans. Hey, they're going to tell you they're a CrossFitter or vegan in the first five seconds of them meeting you. Colonels are the same way. No, it's a colonel in the United States Army. Thanks.
Right. Right. And TJ, what's your answer to the question? The biggest lie we tell ourselves in the military about transition is
People will still reach out to you on the other end. So you have a large network, and don't get me wrong, you could reach out to your group and your collective, say, hey, I'm going to be in this city or country XYZ. Are you still there? Can we link up? But very few will actually reach out to you on a regular basis because they're busy and life moves on, and you have stepped away from that culture and that environment, and so you're just left kind of alone and unafraid. And I think went back to your earlier questions, like why do people struggle? It's because that connection of all these people is gone. Now you've got our core group of individuals, and I would hope people have this still a core group of individuals, and that's been great. I've got Derek and I have a good group of men and women we hang out with, and we all call each other, and which is good. But I think the network
changes.
It will continue to be there, but the continuous or constant connection and contact with them will go away. We just have to be cognizant of that and realize that. Like I said, it goes back to what do you want to do when you get out as you transform your life, as when I talk about reforging who you are as an individual, moving forward through life. Yes, know the people are there, but just don't let them hold you back, and don't think about all the times that did happen. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, now you've got a great opportunity to create new memories and create new connections and create new friends and meet new friends. So take those as great opportunities. It's not a threat. It's not a weakness. It's just opportunities waiting to happen.
Oh, I love both those answers. Thanks, guys. So one of our biggest things I think that we connected on when we, got to talking and really got to meet each other was energy. My podcast and the things that I am very passionate about is discipline and energy. I go completely against the motivation thing. That's kind of the point of view for me. So when we talk about energy, I kind of want to shift the conversation a little bit into something that I believe the root of everything we're talking about right now. And energy. Most people think that they have a discipline or a motivation problem. I, of course, really speak more and harp more on discipline, and then I tie in energy. And I'm a big believer in it because it's what I had to apply in my personal life to be where I'm at now with the thought process and the mindset that I have now. And I've noticed that energy, scientifically, has actually been shown that a lot of globally our friends all over the world are actually struggling with. And so science backs a lot of the research with that, on top of, all the other things globally going on, anxiety, depression, loneliness. So when your environment changes and your brain has to re-regulate, according to the research from the American Psychological Association, major life transitions spike stress hormones like cortisol, which directly impacts our energy, our focus, and our emotional control. So now let me ask you both this, Derek. When you have your daily structure changed, how did your energy change?
That's a great question. So I'm not sure it really has. I mean, there were some moments in time, especially as I started looking at what the transition window looks like, that there might have been a little bit of fatigue. And you're always going to get some, when you're coming off that work high, when you're just going hard in the pain or just going hard in service all the time, you get a little bit of fatigue. Tom and I and folks, we always talk about managing energy, right? And everybody's got a different way to do it, whether you're an extrovert, introvert, somewhere in the middle, whatever your energy level looks like, there's ways to do it. And so for me, one of the things that helps me out is living my four core life values. So it starts off with purpose and over time, this didn't happen it wasn't like a eureka moment. It took a while to figure out what my purpose was. And it was really family and service, service to the nation, service to family, doing things for family, all these things, right? That's a big deal. And then teamwork. We can't do this alone. So having an accountability buddy, and that helps out managing energy. But also like your team will help you, they can help you understand your energy level, their energy level, how to impart the two of them, how to make sure those things are in harmony. So you're not pace setting and just crushing your team or crushing yourself to make your team better. It's all a symbiotic relationship when it comes to energy in that way. And then be fit, mind, body, and spirit. And I think this is one of the most important things when it comes to energy. To me, and this is, a personal thing, is physical fitness leads to mental and spiritual fitness. I mean, there is scientific fact that the more you work out or whatever that workout looks like, walking, riding a bike, swimming, aerobics, weightlifting, yoga, you name it, whatever that looks like, it increases a lot of the different hormones in your body, and your energy level always increases, and it helps out with depression, all these other things. And being fit mentally and spiritually helps either making tough decisions, being resilient, all these things we talk about, all of them together, that sort of health and holistic fitness really helps out. And the last thing is have fun. If you don't like what you're doing, reframe it. Figure it out. If not, do something else. And that's what you talked about earlier. It's like, I am in control now. Like once I get my D Form 214 here in the near future, like it's me. If I don't like what I'm doing, I'll do my own thing, and that's it, right? And it's exciting to do that. And I think those are the important things. Find your core values and live those, and that will help you with your energy management.
Oh, I love that. So you spoke very briefly and said the word fatigue. Did you feel more freedom or did you feel more fatigue during this process?
Yeah, so I think for sure not fatigue and not freedom yet. And I say that because I'm still in the transition process. I've still got several months to go, but it's knowing that at the end I'll be able, especially like when folks are on terminal leave, you're going to take that 30, 60, 90 days to really like refresh, reset, and get going. So that's important. So I'm sure there'll be some fatigue in there, and I'm okay with that because you got to reset. But then there's that freedom we talked about. Now I'm in control. Now I can do what I want. And again, it's a little scary. So I'm excited about that. I can start feeling it more and more the closer I get.
Yeah. It's such a great feeling. I know when I was in that process of retiring and getting out, to me, in my mind, I was just going on a really long extended leave.
Yeah.
But I wasn't prepared for the after. I didn't put any plan in place for the after. I just kind of stayed in that rut, stuck environment of I'm still on a long leave. And so that looking back now at my time, I can see where my downfall really happens. And so I love connecting and having episodes like this with people going through the process or recently just new out of our transition out, so that they can understand like going through it and then having a plan for after, because I didn't. So TJ, we've been, or you've seen soldiers operate at peak performances. What separates high energy leaders from burned out ones?
Yeah, so I've been both. So that's a great question. And before you get into that one, I just want to remind everybody the grass is definitely greener on the other side once you retire. Everybody says you got to water your grass and do like, no. I'm telling you right now, again, I served over almost 33 years. The grass is totally greener on the other side.
It is absolutely. The flowers are blooming and everything. It's absolutely amazing.
Every day they're blooming. Okay, so I haven't been that I would say peak performer and high energy and then just dragging at that point. So one is how to refresh your energy. Well, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. We just have to figure out how to do it. As Derek said, extrovert, introvert. And he said somewhere in the middle. So I don't know if we call that a middle vert. I don't know what we're going to do with that one. Maybe we'll make a new term. But at the end of the day, it's how do you refresh your energy well. And then the other thing too is for leaders, we've all done it, we've all experienced it. So this is from a place of wisdom and from a place of experience. We do too much for others. We sometimes forget, hey, we can only do what we are that we are asked to do. Like, so if I can only do a certain thing, that's what I need to focus on. I should delegate everything else and then trust the entire team. And when you become burned out, that's, I think, is what happens. It happened to be quite a bit. I took on too much, just because it was exciting. A lot of it was because it was kind of cool to do. But at the end of the day, even though it was cool to do and all the excitement that goes with it, at the end of the day, that wasn't, someone else could do the job. Someone else could really do that. And then what happened is I shifted focus from what only the things that I could do. And so when I remembered that and got back into that space, I started getting my energy refreshed. And so for the folks that are out there, just remember, do the things that you're only asked to do or only you can do, especially when it comes into professional life. Personal life, a little bit different. And then refresh your energy, because at some point you are going to get burned out. If you just do too much, you just keep going, you're just going to get burned out. That's all there is to it. Doesn't matter how much energy you have, eventually it will run out. And then you're just going to go back into RBF, and everybody's going to think, oh my gosh, there we go. That person just ran out of energy. Tell that person to go on vacation. And
Thanks,
as
buddy.
I've heard, and I've told this to a lot of officers. I've told this to a lot of senior non-commissioned officers. You need to take leave, and and then while you're on leave, don't do any work. And
Yes.
I've heard commanders say it to folks too as well. It's like, I don't want to see you on email. I don't want to see you answer an email. And you need to take the time to be with your family and refresh well, and then get back into the fight.
A lot of my seniors used to tell me that, especially when I was in, running the supply room. They would, I'd go on leave and they'd be like, I don't want to see an email from you. I don't want to get a phone call. Enjoy your time off. And, it's hard. It's hard to turn that off, right? When we're at that level and the go, go, go. But one thing for me personally that I have learned to do now in where I am in my life is to say no. And I'm okay with whatever the emotion is that comes afterwards, because I've learned that I'm not in control for how the other person is with their emotions, and that's not for me to control. I'm only in control for myself. And if the answer is no, it's no. And then I just carry on to the next thing. And so, and knowing that no is a complete sentence, and you leave it at that. Right. And so being able to kind of that mindset and that shift. And when you have that energy, honestly, I feel like so many things are just so much easier at that point. Cause it just kind of fold itself out after a little while. So now I want to bring something kind of practical, for the both of you. What are 3 non-negotiables that every person, military or civilian, needs to protect their energy? TJ, I'll start with you.
Yes, it's funny. Derek and I, we talk about this so much.
It's going to be the same answer, just so you know.
It's going to be the exact same answer, because this is where the military, and I would say the Army, got this one right. It's the nutritional triad: sleep, fitness, and nutrition. Mm-hmm. It's like protect all 3 of those. Now, for me in my personal life right now, my protection is my mornings. So my mornings are for me. I get up in the morning, I walk my dog, I do my morning things. It's either I do my my New York Times puzzles. I do my Duolingo for Spanish. I'm going to eventually, once I'm done with that, if I'm almost done with it, I'll start Japanese just for fun. And then I work out in the morning. So from the time I get up, which I have a very specific time I go to bed, very specific time I wake up, and then get some breakfast. He gets out, get a nice long walk, get my fitness, whatever it is. And then the afternoon after lunch, I go do the rest of the day. So unless it's an appointment that I can only schedule in the morning, because it does happen from time to time, especially when it comes to medical, I get it. And some life events do happen. It can only be, I get it, and I'll shift as I need to. I'm not too crazy strict on that. But for about 90% of my day, or my schedule, and then we talk about the things that are the non-negotiables in my mornings, because they're for me, so I can get ready for the rest of the day, and then make sure my energy level is good for I can help everybody else out.
I like that. I like that as well. I'll add one additional thing. It's kind of funny. we all know people who can't control themselves on social media and they want to control things they can't control that are just outside their scope of reality. Like I know folks who wake up in the morning, first thing they do is they look at their phone, whatever social media account, whether they're typing away on their phone, whatever platform they're using. By the time they get to whether it's work, school, or the thing they've got to do, their energy level, let's say they had a good night's sleep, is at 100%. They're at work at 70%. And throughout the day, they're getting drained because they're seeing stuff online and they can't control themselves. So some of it is a discipline issue. Tom talks about be disciplined, thought, word, and deed, and we talk about fitness, triad. Those are all about being disciplined. Whether you're a service member, someone in the civilian sector, or someone training, like having the discipline and wherewithal to understand that the nutritional triad, fitness, sleep, nutrition, those are all important. Like sleep for me, like a lot of service members who've done things in combat or whatever it is, been in the army or service for a long time. Sometimes sleep is it's hard to come by, right? And so now you got to figure out ways to do it, and it's important to figure that out. So now I'm making sure I get 7 hours of sleep. I turn the TV off and all my stuff off at least an hour before I go to bed. I'll read. I'll do these things, like find things. So you got to be disciplined in that. And again, it goes back to having an accountability buddy. Whoever that is, find somebody. This is one of the most important things you can do.
Oh, I love that. Thanks, guys. Yeah, for me, one of the things I talk about and when I'm out on my keynotes or, I have, events and things like that is owning that first hour of your day and how important that first hour is. The same thing for me. My non-negotiables in the morning, I was introduced to personal development and just really taking that time to just listen to my personal development, do my prayer, get in my journal, write whatever the thoughts are. At nighttime, just like you said, Derek, being in the military for as long as we have been, sleep has been something that I still struggle with. I got so programmed to get 4.5 hours of sleep, and I can perform just great off of it. So forcing myself to sometimes get 6 to 7 hours, I can struggle with from time to time. And really making that a conscious decision that, hey, let me go ahead and tonight, let me get 7 hours and aim for that. So, our brains are always going. There's always something, right? I'm a single mom. So, my son depends on everything. I'm the lifeline. So what I do at night is, as I'm winding down, I'm just writing everything that I'm thinking about, my to-dos, what I haven't done. And so I'm able to get that out on paper. So that eases my mind. And then I'm able to get whatever it is. I don't force myself. If it is 5 hours and I get up, then that's what it is. But then I make sure that my morning time is mine, my personal development, my prayer, my journal, my workout. And then I get in, and I don't touch my phone. I have my iPad that will get on for my personal development, but my actual cell phone, I don't touch. And then I also turn my do not disturb so that it's just my immediate family. If my mom and dad were to call or my best friend, or, whoever I have listed in my phone for those emergencies, those are the only ones that are coming through. And it's amazing because then when I turn my phone on, to get with the team and all the things, then it's like 103 notifications, everything coming in on Slack, Instagram, and, LinkedIn. And I'm like, but, I used to get so overwhelmed and now I'm just like, this is fun, so being able to kind of shift again, the mindset to that.
I like the do not disturb thing because I do that. And what I found is I used to tie it to when I woke up, but then when I realized when the alarm went off and all of a sudden, all these things came, I'm like, oh my God. So now I do it for an hour after I get up. That's when everything starts coming in. Because like you said, you got to give time for you.
Yes. So we also, I'm going to segment here into my listeners. I want everyone listening right now to do something with me. Don't skip this. Ask yourself this question honestly. Do I actually have a discipline problem? Or do I have an energy problem? Because if you're exhausted, overwhelmed, mentally drained, you're not lazy, you're depleted. So this is a topic that I absolutely love. And it was drained in me, just drilled for years and years and years being in the military, resilience.
Mm.
So let's talk about resilience, but not the Instagram version, not the highlight reel, the quiet version.
Yeah.
Derek, what's harder, leading in high pressure environments or leading your life after service?
For sure, the latter, leading life after service, and I'll give some things that I'm doing to help out with that. But leading under a high pressure environment is we have been drilled and trained and trained and trained on executing tasks, missions, objectives, you name it, whatever it is, as a part of an organization and a team under super like the highest, most complex environments that only less than 1% of Americans will ever face, right? And so, but we do that as a team, and it goes back to core values, all about the team. No one is more important than the team, and we do that, and that makes it. And then you're around people, even though you may not be around your family, with your Army family, your service family, and that helps. Leading life after service is because it's just like it's you and your family, which is great. But all those that, like Tom said, your network, your teammates, those folks, they're not always there. You're not going to see them every day like you do now. And
Yeah.
so what I found is through this process, the transition process, there's a lot of great resources out there to help out. Like the Transition Assistance Program, TAP, Soldier for Life program. People would like to give a lip service. I think it's valuable. I've used a lot of their services, and it's absolutely amazing. The retirement services folks, the VA folks. Out of this transitional process, I was fortunate enough to get linked up with this group called the Commit Foundation, where they really helped me look at and provide resources on ways to find purpose, what you want to do in your life. And one of the things, if you don't mind, just real quick, is I got this book from them, not from them, I bought it, Designing Your Life. And it's from all age groups, coming out of high school, college, well, buddy-duddies like me who are getting out of the service after almost 30 years. And like, there's things there like, well, if you had resource free and you could do whatever, what would you want to be? Oh, okay. But I mean, it's a great way to really see what you want to do and not just do the things and like not take off the green suit and put on another suit and do the same thing. Because not all of us want to do that. So I think the biggest thing is find the resources. Services have them, especially the Army. We've got great resources. And finding those little nuggets has been supremely helpful over the past several months working through this process.
And I have to say, I think the Army has done a much better job over the years since I retired to see that transition and really helping the service members with those resources, making them a little bit more available, going a little bit deeper into what those resources are. I mean, they were there when I got out, but I feel like there's more in depth in the understanding of what those resources are now with those transitioning out now than when I transitioned out 6 years ago. And so Derek, I want you to go here with me also. Sure. What mental battles don't get talked about enough?
So a lot, actually. We are, again, for those who've been in the service for a while, we've done a lot of things. Most of us deployed a couple, 3 times. So I think talking about that, one of the challenges that folks that have transitioned out of the service is, unless you join like a veterans group, there's really no veteran around you oftentimes. And so who do you reach out to? I mean, there's social media and you can talk to your friends on the phone, but oftentimes that face-to-face contact, that human-to-human interaction is where it's at. The other thing is like traumatic brain injury. And I'll turn over to Tom for this because he's gone through a lot of this recently. I thought it was really great. And he's got a great story to tell about that. But like I'm getting a TBI assessment here next week-ish, 2 weeks from now. It's something that I've been putting off for a long time because we've done these things. And like Tom said, oftentimes we tell people to do stuff, especially senior leaders, but then we don't do it because we're too busy, right? We've got things to do. Or, pride cometh before the fall. You just got to check your pride at the door. It's like going to the gym. It's always something stronger and faster. You got to check that pride at the door. Yes. And so I'm checking my pride. It's been it's better late than never. It's been too long in the making, but yeah, I think those things are really, we don't talk about it enough, and we absolutely need to. And I think Tom's got probably a better story to tell about that. So, Tom, if you don't mind, I think you got a great one.
Just on what we don't talk about in the mental battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously we'll talk about it later. I mean, obviously I did a thing. I wrote a book, got it published, all the crazy things that go with it. The impetus behind it, we'll talk a little bit about that later on, I think, in our discussion. But I mean, at one point in time in my life, I was at the bottom. I didn't think I had too many options left. I mean, I was staring at a pistol with 2 loaded magazines right next to it. Never, ever, I didn't put it in the weapon or anything, but I just contemplated life on what options do I have in my life. And, as an E9 at the time, and a lot was going on in my life. I was still deploying, still doing a bunch of stuff. This is before I got out of the unit I was in. And so, yeah, it was tough. And then I didn't talk about it to anybody. I called a friend of mine up and I said, "Hey, man, you still want this pistol?" And, because he was doing match shooting. He did a stock pistol. He's like, "Yeah, I'll come right over and get it." He knew what it was for. He knew why I was asking the question. But we never really talked about it, but he knew what he was doing. So he came over, and by the time he was over here, the pistol was already locked up. All the magazines were emptied. All the bullets were back where they were supposed to be and everything. And came a gun. And I said, "Thanks a lot." He's like, "Hey, man, that's what we do for each other."
That's
I was
right.
like, "Thanks for the pistol." And I was like, I really appreciate it. And then I didn't talk about that story that's probably the second or third time I ever told this story.
Wow.
And I think the first time really I told about it when I was on a recent interview. And so when I tell people, I say, "Hey, when I talk about my reforged journey, it's a hard path. But the tough one is leaders need to talk more about the struggles they have. You don't have to go over
Mhm.
all the crazy details, and frankly, probably don't need to. But you can talk about, hey, a lot of folks look up to obviously a lot of the people, the mentors, all that stuff. Oh, they've got a perfect life. No, man, we're struggling just like everybody else is.
Yeah.
Our struggles may be different and maybe at a different perspective depending on where we are in our lives, without a doubt. But we, just like everybody else, we're trying to make life better for our children and our families. But we're still struggling. And so if we can connect our stories to others and help people walk their path, and at the end of the day, it's that's what I think for the mental issue is just we just got to be able to share our stories, be comfortable about it. But again, it's tough to do it while you're in the military. I haven't obviously just retired after almost 33 years. It's easy to say now. It's very difficult to do then. And so if
Yes.
everybody's out there that's listening, is this at the end of the day, tell your story. Be comfortable in telling your story, because not only are you going to help yourself out in the telling of the story and a reminder of what we still need to do, is it'll help someone step on their path and keep going.
Yes, and I want to kind of add this too with you saying that, one of the main reasons why I created the Warriors Haven podcast is to bring guests like you guys on, veterans, military, because this is such a very sensitive topic, especially for me. But I want to share that the words and let people know that have been in, are transitioning out, have been out for a while, that these are things wherever you are in the world, wherever you're listening to the podcast on, to know that there are people just like you that have been through it, going through it. But we have been able to identify resources and tools. And so the whole making of the podcast is to provide someone, whoever's listening, to know that, if you're listening at this moment, that there are people that you can reach out to, and just know that some of us are very similar to you. You're not very different walking that path as well. And that there are people that really do care and want to see you on the other side. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today on this podcast and covering this episode on transition, on resiliency, on energy. TJ, I'm going to go back to you. You've built warriors, but what happens when those warriors go home and they lose structure? Can you talk to us about that just a little bit?
Yeah, are we talking? Yeah, so are we talking about going home as like the end of the day, or going home as they transition into their next chapter in life? Because that would be two different answers.
Yeah, as they transition out, going, whether they're going back home, wherever home of record is, or, they're picking up, starting somewhere else. They have that DD 214 in their hands.
Okay, yeah. Hey, it's an opportunity. Not only transition your life, transform your life. As Derek hinted at this earlier, a lot of folks, I talk to a lot of people still, and I'm a mentor for the nominative transition course down in Leavenworth. I'll be down there in August. I know a lot of people who are going to start terminal leave and go right into a job. Like, what are you doing? Or they'll sell their leave, which is a waste of money. You're just wasting, you're pissing your money away, and your time. Take your time. The Army is still paying you your full amount, your base pay, all the other stuff. At the end of the day, so take the time to be with your family, reconnect with your family. Just do the things you want to do for that, whatever that time is, and either get back in the workforce or like I did, I just retired. Not just retired, but I mean, I'm living the trophy husband life now. I mean, I obviously done a lot of stuff. And so what I see a lot of times, those people just jump into another workforce. They change, and a lot of times it's right into a government job. And it's because it's what we're used to and what we're comfortable with. And again, a lot of people have different life factors that go with it. So I can understand that. But at the end of the day, take the time to transition. Take those. I mean, you're already getting paid a certain amount. You're still going to get paid a certain amount of money when you're into that transitional period, especially when it comes to terminal leave. So factor that in, and time is worth a lot. Time is worth a lot more than you think it is. That's why I see a lot of people struggle. And then when you do come out of the Army, as we're coming out of the Army, like we talked about before, is let that anchor go. Drop it.
That's right.
Learn who you are. It's a great opportunity. We're going to grow up. We're going to become adults, right? Because when you join the Army, you're kind of a forever kid. I know we do a lot of adult things, especially when we're deployed. I've been deployed 9 combat deployments, so we did a lot of adult things, right? And I get that it changes your life. And I'm not to just demean that or disparage that or whatever, but we're going to come out and be responsible adults. This is a big joke, right?
Yeah.
And that's
I'm managing my dog's energy right now.
Yeah, so you get this great opportunity just to do something different. And that's why, and Derek said it, and I'll say it to everybody, go out and do something different. Take a leap of faith. Try something you've wanted to do.
That's right.
You know what I never really had time to do? I was in the military, or because of pick a different reason. I'm going to go with XYZ because Derek loves that phrase from me.
Yada, XYZ.
That's right. So you get all these opportunities and take it. If you don't like it, the greatest thing is you can just go do something else, right? Because you make a decision. That's why I say the grass is green on the other side. So I see a lot of people struggle that way because they don't take the time for themselves.
That's right.
Not just to prepare themselves, but to enjoy the time that we are now given. And then try something completely different. That's why I see folks struggle quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I have battle buddies that DD 214 in hand, and 48 hours later they're in a truck. They're now a truck driver driving across country, and it was like, where was the time off? And we all decompress, and we all deal with how we want to deal with transition and things very differently. I know for me, when I transitioned out, I was like, I'm on a long extended leave, and I just stayed in that mindset for over a year, and then my depression and anxiety kicked in. And so a similar situation. I didn't have my 9mm glocked and ready to go, but I had written a suicide note that I had put in my notebook, and I just had it there. And then, I went on to Target and had a whole episode. And then that's where I realized I need to reach out for mental health. So, it was that turning point in my life, so just like you guys both have said throughout this episode, we have been through so much, and so many people kind of look at the life on social media, or they follow some part of our story, but they don't really know a lot of the underlying things that we have been through. And yet again, why I made the podcast and I have it, to hit worldwide, because there's so many things that make us who we are, what they get to see now because of what we have had to overcome. So, TJ, staying with you, what's the first crack you see when someone starts losing resiliency?
Yeah, their armor. In fact, I have an award-winning poem, and it's actually about it's armored and breaking. And we keep putting armor on. In fact, you heard about this at the Author Summit. We just keep putting more and more of this armor on. And then eventually it just becomes so heavy, it starts to break, starts to crack. And all the little things start coming out. We're angry, we're agitated. Sometimes even though the armor is breaking, we still become more closed off because the armor is coming and shedding. And we're trying to figure out what is going on. All that, we thought we could carry all this by ourselves, and we're not doing that any longer. So then we close off from the rest of the world. We start pulling back from folks as we're trying to figure out what is going on internally with our own lives. I see that quite a bit. I experienced it, obviously. I
Hmm.
spent a total of 10 weeks at a traumatic brain injury down at the Polytrauma Center in Tampa to help my reforged path. So from a guy who's walked this path, whose armor is broke, and it broke pretty hard, and
Hmm.
especially one day in 2012. But that is what I see, is that when the armor starts breaking and cracking, is all these little things start coming that we were trying to hide, and we think people don't notice it, but they do.
Hmm.
And then it takes a very courageous individual or individuals to come out and say, "Hey, your armor's breaking, it's cracking, and we're here to support you, not pander," which has been great. Don't pander to somebody, but you got to support. You
Right.
got to tell them the truth. There's a
Hmm.
kind way to do it, and sometimes when kindness doesn't work, you just got to go right to their face and say, "Time to change," or "We're cutting sling." So
Yeah.
it has come down to that for me. And then I got the ultimatum by my wife and my daughter, and that put me on my path very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially when it comes for the ones that we really do
Yeah,
love
that's right.
and they come to us at that point. It's like, oh, yes, I 100% agree. Now, I'm going to ask the both of you something deeper. And I want you both to answer this honestly, not as leaders, but as men. Have you ever had a moment after everything you guys have accomplished where you questioned who you were? Derek, I'll start with you.
Yeah, this is a great and tough question all at the same time, because I have had moments where I've had imposter syndrome. Like, how did I get here? Am I the person that's supposed to do this? I think, and I'm not gonna say I think, I know most great leaders. I'm not saying I'm a great leader, by the way, by any stretch of imagination. I'm just saying most folks who continue to rise and do these things that we've done, you that pops up in your head every so often. It's like, how did I get here? Like, what have I done that my peers haven't done? Maybe I got lucky. Maybe I just, something happened. I just got really lucky. I think that's the one thing that Tom and I have talked about. We struggle with is the imposter syndrome. Like, how did we get here? But you don't always need affirmation in your life. It's always good. It's good to get it. But I think it goes back to having family and friends. Where like, hey, am I here because I made it here with everybody and teamwork, everybody bringing you along, or did I get lucky? Or am I having imposter syndrome? I think that is the biggest challenge mentally. The higher we go in whatever career field or you name it, you realize that you are there for a reason, and you will have doubts, and that's okay. Again, like, having a doubt is fine. Now, leaning into that doubt, and then having that doubt own who you are, that's where the challenges truly become. And so I think that's the big one is, did I have imposter syndrome? Sure, a lot of us do. But then you got to push through that. Like, no, we got here because of a team. We got here because of all the folks we've learned, we that have helped us along the way, that we've helped along the way, the learning experiences we've had. All of those lead to the things that we've done. So it's truly not imposter syndrome, but it's okay to doubt yourself. Because I think if we don't, we become narcissistic. Like, I'm here because I'm great. Are you? I say that, and this is going to sound kind of funny, and it is, and it's meant to be, but it's also meant to be serious. And Tom, I say this all the time when we talk leadership is, if you can't identify the asshole in the room, it's probably you, right? And oftentimes it's the folks that that are narcissistic, that like,
Yeah.
I'm here because I'm better than everybody. I mean, I got competition breeds excellence, but it only does that through teamwork and hard work and dedication, not being narcissistic and a show off. And so I think that's where we look at doubt and we see ourselves often, but pushing past that's a big challenge.
TJ, same question. Have you ever had a moment after everything you've accomplished where you questioned who you were?
Yeah, so I wrote a poem called "Hope at Hope at Dawn," Ode to the Hope at Dawn, and it was after a very long mission my buddy and I got called out for. So we spent about 6 weeks in the Nuristani Valley. 10,000 feet's the valley floor, and we're up around 12, 13,000 feet on the ridge line. And at the end of the mission, pretty significant, got what we needed to do, a very, very significant operation at the end. And we're still up on the mountain ridge, and dawn is breaking. And when I look to the west, I just see just a swath of destruction. And when I look to the east, I see pristine snow, pristine mountains. Everything's just clean and beautiful. And I look to the right, to the west, and I see just a swath. And I say, "Who am I really? This person to the right? Am I really this man who was called to do? Asked to do what my nation needs us to do? And I definitely did it. Did it actually did it fairly well, especially that night. But is this the person who I really am? Am I the person who's going to just bring destruction? Figuratively, could be, obviously this one was literal, but figuratively, am I going to be that person who's going to just bring wrath down upon people? Is that what I want to be? Is that who I want to be known as? And this is at the time I was having a lot of troubles and a lot of issues. I lost my smile as my number one smile. The world smiles. I lost that, and I wasn't that person then. And then when I looked to the east, I saw this glistening snow and just a brand new day. I said, how can I get to that person? How can I become that person again, or at least some similar to that person again? Or how do I walk that path that way? So for me, it was two different things. Am I going to continue to go on the path of destruction, self-destruction, in order to kind of reforge myself into a new and better person, a stronger person? So for me, that was I wouldn't say it's my turning point, but it was, as I look back on all the things I've done in my life and all my memories, that clearly stands out in my mind as a very significant time and a turning point in my life as again, all these things were coming to a head, and I had to make a decision. And I think I made the right one. I know I made the right one, which is I look to the east and we'll see the shining sun and the glistening snow, and that's the path I want to stay on.
Oh, I love that. So we're going to segue into this section here, which is another topic I do like talking about, because it was one of the ones I had to really adapt through my transitioning periods as well, which was my mindset and a mindset shift. And so I want to reframe it, because what I'm hearing and what I know is this: discipline doesn't disappear, direction does. So let me ask you both. What mindset shift saved you during transition? TJ, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So my job, I am a trophy husband. That is my job. I'm the spouse of the group. In fact, I wrote an article specifically about this on LinkedIn. I transitioned out of the Army. All the things that I did, all the accolades, all the struggles, gone. It's all gone. Now my new role is not as a command sergeant major, not as a nominative command, not a soldier, none of that. I am a husband. And so when I go to these different functions with Joanne, my wife, she is introduced obviously as the strategic command, as a command sergeant major, and then her husband. And that's me. So, and I'm
Great.
right. And it actually took me a little bit, because I was like, well, we were both E9s not too long ago. And now I am not an E9. I'm retired. I get it, but I'm not an active duty E9, an active duty soldier anymore. So what am I? So what did I shift? I leaned heavily on my 4 life and leader principles, and I realized they're still valid.
Mm-hmm.
I use them in the same way, but just for a different, I wouldn't say mindset, but just a different role in my life. And that role is not only to be a trophy husband, a dad for my daughter, and then as an author, that's someone who can inspire others to walk their path or reforged journey. So when I shifted that mindset, or I shifted my focus to now not worrying about, here are the things I used to do in the past. Again, we talk about the anchor. I was like, let me drop that fast. If I drop it, or if I don't drop it, it's going to keep going. And it'd be frustrating for my wife or for me, especially when we're together and I'm no longer an E9. This is her role. My role is to be TJ Baird, trophy husband, father, author, speaker, all the other things that come with it. And so now I'm tying myself to all my intrinsic core values and all my goals that I want to accomplish as a new person, as my new chapters in life. And so we kind of, all these things that we talked about in this podcast interview today is what led me to where I am today, is this new chapter and all the new chapters that are come with it. And so I'm excited, and I lean heavily on those 4 life principles to ensure I made that transformation in the way I wanted to do it.
Oh yes, and your story is just amazing, and your wife is a whole badass. So I
She's
think
pretty amazing.
she's great. Yes. So I know her listening to the episode when it does air. Just to give her kudos as well because she's phenomenal and a great.
So you know her flaw though, right? You know what her only flaw is, right?
No such thing.
Yeah. Oh no. She married down. She married down. I
Way
married up.
down,
She's like, I'm gonna go
way
to the
up.
junkyard. I'm gonna get that old crusty guy right there and see if we can
Yeah,
get some shine on him. She's still working on it. She's still trying to get me in
yeah.
there. Yeah,
Can't
so
polish
that's
that turd.
that's her flaw right there.
Yeah, you can't polish that turd right there.
Oh no. Derek, you're in transitioning out now from the Army, and we're just so grateful and blessed to have you right out here in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and having being the garrison commander for Fort Sill and the amazing work that you did for the installation. Probably one of the best command teams I had ever seen, and I just a little jealous because y'all weren't mine, but it's okay, it's all right. These soldiers got it, and
I'm glad
that's
this
what
is
matters.
recorded. This is recorded for posterity. I love
It is. But what has been your mindset shift
Yeah.
during this transition that you're going through right now actively?
I have three words: transformation, transformation, transformation. Right? I did talk very similar. Like I did something on LinkedIn. Right? Talked about that where uh, I wanted to do something completely different. Again, work with the Commit Foundation. There's these two lovely ladies, these two British ladies who used to work with the TAP, the Transition Assistance Program. Someone linked me up with them as well. And so with these different resources, what I've found is I love to coach, and I really like coaching leadership. And this goes back to when I was a young kid in college. I was a Bonner Scholar, which meant I had to go do volunteer work. And we did an at-risk youth volunteer by Big Brother, Big Sister.
Mhm.
When I was in Savannah, Georgia, in 2011 to 15, I worked with this great group called Performance Initiatives that did life coaching and mentoring for at-risk youth all the way up to adults. So that included mentoring in academic mentoring, tutoring, leadership, life lessons, and then Olympic lifting, which is really great. So I got certified to do that to coach folks. I say that because that is what's helped me and set my mindset right for the future is the whole transformation piece is
Mhm.
not relying on what I'm saying, not doing the thing that I just came from, not doing maybe a municipal set or selling something back to the Army or being a DA civilian, all those things. Great. For people that want to do that, that is absolutely fantastic. And I applaud you for it. But much like Tom said earlier, is I wanted to try something I've always wanted to try is coach leadership. At the National Training Center, I was an observer controller for twice, once after battery command and then after battalion command, so for 2 years each. And I did some advising for some senior level leaders in NATO as a fires guy, and we switched from peace and stability to more deterrence and conflict oriented, and what does that look like? And it was I got to help out a lot with that. So I found is that coaching is great. I love it. Got the passion for it. You talk about energy. I love it. And so transformation, transformation, transformation. That's my mantra. Continue to be my mantra, not just through this period, but once I get out and continue on that glide path. And so it's been helpful, and having a network, having a team, having friends that help along the way has been super impactful.
Oh, yes, yes. TJ, I'm going to go ahead and shift to you real quick and ask you, what would you say to someone right now who feels lost? And if someone feels like they're starting over, what do they need to hear today?
Wow. That's that's a good one. I would say internal words of affirmation. So there's I do my morning meditation, and metta meditation is great because they're about words of affirmation for not only ourselves but for others. I think that is the hardest part for us specifically as individuals is words of affirmation for ourselves.
Mhm.
And so I've made that part of my daily routine is the metta meditation. It's been great, and it's tough sometimes because I think, oh, why am I giving myself words of affirmation? That was very hard for me to do in the very, very beginning when I started my journey. It's much easier now. And so for the men and women that are out there, pick your favorite meditation program, whatever it is, or try to find one if you haven't done it. Meta meditation is fantastic, META, and it really talks about how can I be happy with who I am as an individual, because we all have come from different walks of life, we all have different life experiences, we're all walking different paths. But the ability to say, "Hey, I am just a good person, and what I'm doing in life is good," and that's been helping me out quite a bit. So I just for anybody's out there, it's like it going even through. Doesn't have to be a crucible. Doesn't have to be a hardship. Doesn't have to be. You can have been having just a fantastic day. Even then, it's still great to say, you know what? I'm a pretty good person. I helped somebody. I did this. I did that. Whatever it is, but the hard part is it is not being egotistical. You're not. It is just telling yourself like, yes, I am a good person. That actually took me a long time. A lot of veterans have issues with, especially a lot of things that we've done and we've seen when we're overseas in deployment, especially combat deployments. Is, am I still a good person? The answer to that is yes. You are still a good person. You did the job that was asked of you, and you did it well. And so that meditation and those words of affirmation, especially for yourself, is phenomenal.
Like Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live, Michael Jordan is always great. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
I love it. I love it. This recording for this episode has been very special. It really has. I think we've hit a lot of topics of conversation that kind of don't get talked about. We just a lot of us kind of go through our mundane day. We wake up. If we got to go to work, we go to work. We got to take care of the kids. We got to cook. We got to clean. We got to do all these things. And as veterans, we kind of shove a lot of things under the rug because, like you said, TJ, that armor, right? So not only have I had so much fun with this entire production to create the episode and bring you guys on, but I'm going to segue and pivot into this conversation, which is probably my favorite. Not that what we haven't talked about hasn't been fun and very educational, I feel, and informative for those going through transition, whether it's military or civilian. But because leadership doesn't stop when the uniform comes off, it evolves. And I really, truly believe that. And so I want to talk about why this next part matters. Sergeant Major TJ, you inspired the writing of The Warrior Dad. What inspired you to write that?
My daughter. So I got this little dude right here, Cool Bear. She gave it to me on my last deployment. She said, "Dad, you got to take him." So I did, and I started just writing a bunch of little poems and for her just to show about daily life. And I was my last deployment, and then he eventually made it into my memories, watching us do all the things that I did over my other deployments. And then some of those contextually were not for children. I have a children's book that's going to come out here shortly. But then I said, you know what, I really need to start writing about my memories. I realized I think if I go with this book called Warrior Dad, I can write it for my daughter, who's a young lady now in her 20s, and able to understand more of the writings inside there. So and it was all for her. Was to let her know that her light shielded me through the darkest times and helped light the path in front of me so I could get reforged. So it is all to her. This entire book is specifically for her. And then, so I can continue to reconnect and share my life story with her, because it's been a long time in coming, because she doesn't know much of what I did in my military career, because I kept a lot of it hidden from her.
Yeah. I can completely relate to that when it comes to my son as well. There's a lot that, I mean, he's 10, but when he gets older, I'll be able to share with him that he'll be able to understand. But for now, he just knows mom wore the uniform. Mom was a drill sergeant. And he thought, in his mind, it's the coolest thing ever. Because when people, meet and we talk, and then they, their reaction to me being a former drill, to him now, he, understands that as like, that was really cool. Not understanding everything that encompassed all of that when he was little. But what does being a warrior dad actually mean in today's world? Can you share a little bit, explain that to us?
I sure can. So I'll go back a few years while I was still in the service. I was a single father, so geographic bachelor. So I had Veronica with me, and we were expecting to go to, I was expecting to go to a summer series concert. So I got out of work early. I said, hey, I'm leaving. My daughter and I have this plan. We're going. Bam, I get to the house. I walk in, and she's just nothing but tears. I was like, okay. So the first thing that comes out of it goes, what does every dad do? I'm like, all right, what boy am I going to put in the ground? Say, no, Dad's not that. I'm like, are you sure? Because I buried bodies in the desert. I'll go do it again if you just, no, Dad, it's not that. No. She's like, calm down, Pop, calm down. I was like, okay, so what's the issue? She's like, I can't do this math problem. Like, come again? It's like, this, right, trinomials. If you don't know what a trinomial is, look it up. So I haven't done math in that kind of math since, 38 years ago.
Right.
So she's in a room. She's bawling her eyes out. She is academic validation. That's her thing. So it's Dad, academic validation is my thing. And I love it. I love that about her. So I was like, okay, let me see the issue. So I got her computer. I got my laptop next to it. I'm doing some research on YouTube, doing all these crazy things. And eventually, like 20, 30 minutes later, I was like, Veronica, I think I got the answer. And they're way off in their bedroom. No way. You're not that smart. I'm like, child, come on. So I was like, why don't you come on out here? So she sits down and I said, I think I got it. So we went through it all. She's like, you got to be kidding me. I said, no. So we spent we didn't go to the summer concert. We sat there at the dining room table for 2.5 hours doing her homework. And there was only like maybe 5 or 6 questions. But if you actually done hers like several pages long to finish.
Yeah.
Once we got done with the second one, she started ripping them out. She's like, oh my God. Then she's like, then it clicked in her head. And so I'm over here on the struggle bus still. And she's already on like the last one. She's like, Dad, you got to catch up. I'm like, child, I started you on your path. You can at least wait for me, come on, man. And so we talk about being a warrior at home. It's being present. That's the big one. Being present where you are, because there's no such thing as work-life balance. That's a misnomer. There's a harmony. It's a symphony of life.
Yes.
A friend of mine wrote about that, or got an interview recently for a recent news article, and he talked about that. I told him I was totally going to use it because I always talk about the harmony of life and the symphony and how you bring it all together. And so how are we present at home? How are we present wherever we are? We present at work. We're present at home. We're present when I walk my dog, go to the dog park with Macaroni. He's here behind me. Am I present with him? Am I present with my daughter, my family, or am I on my phone, or am I distracted with something different? So being a warrior at home is being that present figure for wherever you are in life, wherever that situation is. Are you a warrior at that point in time? That's, for me, is what being a warrior is. It's different for every situation. But at the end of the day, it's about being present and being yourself in the presence of, and it can just be it could be individually. I can be present with myself when we talked about earlier with working out and all the things that we all do, and all the spouse and champion. So that's what it's all about for me, is being that present person. And at the end of the day, that's your warrior.
Awesome. Maybe that might be the same answer to this next question. Let's see.
Okay.
I'm a single mom. So what is one lesson from the book that every parent needs to hear?
Yeah. Be connected. Share your story. That's what it's all about. I'm sharing my life story, not only with my daughter. It's crazy enough. I'm sharing it with the world. And I did it. And I wrote it, and I created those illustrations specifically for people to see themselves when they read it. And they read it for their family. They read it to their kids as, oh, mom was here, dad was here. Let me tell you, I'm reading the stories. Let me tell you what dad or mom was doing. And while we're doing that, we were thinking about you. And so for you and for everybody who's got kids or grandkids, nieces, nephew, whatever it is, and I think Derek does a lot of coaching with the young kids and young adults and everything, is share your story, connect your story with others. And then from that connection, we're going to build a relationship. We're going to inspire others so that they can walk their path, and they know that you will be there with them. You may not always physically be there, but they know they've got a warrior that's cheering them on. It could be from afar, or it could be literally right next to them. And that's what it means for this book, for being a mom, a dad, or whatever it is, husband, wife, whatever, a partner, whatever that is in life. Share the story, connect, and inspire.
I love that. Okay. Derek, I want you to finish this sentence. And you're going through this transition now out of the military. You're on this journey with your twin brother. So the ones that are listening, the audio will go up and aren't going to, see the video.
Sure.
You guys are twins. If they
Yeah.
haven't been able, the ones watching the video, I hope you guys were able to figure that out 30 seconds in once the recording started. But you're on this journey, and TJ has written his book, and you're out on the tour and being able to kind of tag along here and there when you can. What is a warrior at home? And in your words, a warrior at home is someone who
is present. It's the same what Tom says. It's someone who's present for themselves, for their family, for their friends, for their network, and someone who is willing to sacrifice for those folks. I think that's the big one. We talk about warriors. We sacrifice a lot. We sacrifice our time. We sacrifice our energy. We sacrifice a lot. And sometimes that last full measure of devotion, right? We sacrifice a lot of things to make our country safe, to do all the things that we want to do as warriors. And that's the same thing at home. Sometimes you got to sacrifice what you personally want to do for your family, their time, your friends, their time, whatever that looks like. And so I think that's the most important thing to remember is warriors are always in the business of sacrificing something. And you do it with grace, you do it with gratitude, and all those things, the superlatives that you put in there, but it's sacrifice. That's a truly difficult thing to do because it's a very selfless thing to do. And we always have to be cognizant of that. And how do we do that at home is can be challenging, but warriors at home, sacrifice your time, sacrifice your energy for others.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much, Derek. TJ, let's make sure people know where to find you with the
Right
journey
there.
that you're on now. Where can they get the book?
So you can get it on Amazon. That's the easiest one. Just type in Warrior Dad. You can go to my website. It's our website now. So Derek is now in warriordadstories.com. You'll see the old website now. The new one's in the process of being designed. The new one looks great. But warriordadstories.com is where you can get the book. Not only that, you can get the book, you can download the companion guide. And that talks about the entire backstory behind the book, the lost haikus that inspired a lot of the odes that are only in the companion guide right now. My work is for all my poems and things that I wrote for the men and women down at the post-deployment rehabilitation evaluation program at the VA hospital in Tampa. I also have my award-winning poem on there as well. And we've got a couple other things to the site, and there is a lot on there, and it's been great. It's been healing for me. It's one of the big things, right? Healing through words for me, and hopefully inspire others to heal as well. And then at the end of the day, it's we'll walk this journey together. And then if you, for the folks out there, if you buy the book and you love it, please leave me a review too, because you always got to feed the algorithm. That's the big one, right? And then enjoy it, and and share it with others. Don't just buy the book, read it, and then leave it at the house, whatever. Share it with others, because the idea is to connect one to another and to share our stories of hope and inspiration, so that we can all walk our paths. It may be different, but we can definitely walk them together.
Yes, and to caveat off that, from reading the book, gifting it, once you acquire that, gift it to someone, especially us veterans. I feel like there's so many takeaways. So we always have birthdays, anniversaries, the holidays are coming up. So it'd be a great gift to give someone. If you don't know what to give, go ahead and grab the book and give it as a gift. TJ, you're also touring as well. What cities are you hitting next that maybe you might be visiting that they can come out and see you at?
Yeah, so I'm going to be at Long Tab Brewing, and that's going to be down in San Antonio. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be the 25th of June. So it's going to be on the whole Father's Day thing, so it's great. And August, I will be in Phoenix, Arizona, with my mom at the Corn Fez, FEZ. So I'll be there and I'm looking forward to that. And then November 7th, I will be at Beehawk Distillery, and that's in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Some friends of ours who retired, and they have a really amazing distillery down there. It's a phenomenal community there. So those are the next three that are coming up, and I've got a few more that are in the works. I just got to lock them in. And then for anybody, if you come on the website, join the mission. I put these out on my newsletters, all the podcasts, everything that we do, the interviews and articles will all go on there as well. And I'll keep everybody updated on my site. So those are the three that I've got locked in for now.
Okay, awesome. And a final question, TJ. When someone meets you at a book signing, what do you want them to walk away with?
A shared story and a great shared experience. That's what it's all about. I love to hear other people's stories. People come to me and say, "Hey, I don't know how to write my story," and they've asked me to write theirs through poem. And I said, "Yes, send me your story. We'll write it, and I'll send it back to you, and maybe with a canvas art on it." So I've done that a couple of times already. But yeah, come out, and then share your story, because it's always great. That's how we connect with each other.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out because this isn't just about the military. This is about being human. Everyone listening is transitioning through something, a job, a relationship, a version of themselves. So I want to ask you both, what does being a warrior mean outside of the military right now as we stand in the present moment? Derek.
Of course, I'm the first one. It goes back to, for me, I said earlier about what it's like being in the home or in the family with being a warrior. It's very similar, being present, sacrificing, but also I think it's continual service. I think one of the things that's really helpful in life is finding something to do, whether it's volunteer work, whether it's coaching, whether it's something to do with a family, it's like find something that will impact the community in a positive light, impact your family in a positive light, your friends in a positive light. Do some sort of act of service. That is one of the most important things that you can do. I mean, heck, you could work at the SPCA with dogs, cats, rabbits, you name it. Whatever that looks like, do something that is selfless and it's all about service. I think that's what, for warriors, that's what we should be doing.
I love that. TJ, can you end this for us? What is one action someone listening to this podcast, wherever they are in the world, can take in the next 24 hours to take back control of their energy and direction?
Yeah, control what you can control. Don't worry about anything else. Control what we can control. And then that'll bring all that energy back in you. Enjoy life. Enjoy the moment. Be your warrior. That's the greatest thing. Be your own warrior. Connect with others. Share your stories. Inspire others. And be inspired by someone else's story so that we can all walk our path together. We're all humans. We're all trying to make a better life for ourselves and really for our kids and our families in the future. But we're all doing it together. We're all doing it different ways. We'll have different ideas, but we're all humans trying to get to a goal, which is a better future. Doesn't matter how we see it. Doesn't matter how we're going to get there. We just got to do it and inspire each other along the way. Do that. Share your story and then just enjoy life.
I love it. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I want to close this out with something simple but powerful. You don't lose who you are. You lose structure. And when you lose structure, you lose energy. And when you lose energy, you lose direction. But here's the truth. You can rebuild all of it. So if you're listening right now and you feel off, you feel behind, you feel like you don't recognize your life, you are not broken. You are in transition. And warriors, we don't quit in transition. We rebuild. If this episode hit you, share it with someone who needs it. Go support Warrior Dad. This is bigger than a book. It's a mission. And if you're ready to take control of your energy, your discipline, and your life, stay with me because this is just the beginning. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I'm so grateful that you guys joined me on the podcast for the Warriors Haven. And future blessings for everything that's to come and the collaborations. Maybe we can collaborate on a book together here in the future. You guys with Warrior Dad, the Trophy Husbands, and then we also have the Warriors Haven Edge book that will be coming out sometime in 2027. So thank you, gentlemen, so much in connecting and reaching out, and the impact that our world can get from all of this. Please continue, don't stop. I know there's road bumps and so many other things that will come along the way, but the mission and the vision, the goal, the dream, to inspire others that if we can do it, anybody else can do it. So thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Hi, friend. Thanks for tuning into the Warriors Haven podcast, where we turn discipline into freedom and help you build the body, mindset, and lifestyle you deserve. If today's episode fired you up or gave you just that little push you needed, don't stop here. Head on over to thewarriorshaven.com, where you'll find details on how to jumpstart the next version of you. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. So until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and stay ready. I'm Jeshia Sutherland, and you're listening to the Warriors Haven podcast.
Understanding power requires more than headlines. I'm Peter Hamby, host of The Powers That Be, a podcast from Puck examining politics, economics, and media to provide context, analysis, and clarity without sensationalism. We ask how power operates, who benefits, and what's at stake. If you want to move beyond breaking news to deeper understanding, join us on The Powers That Be. New episodes every weekday. Follow The Powers That Be wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Jay, your favorite drill sergeant. Before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Knowledge is powerful, but knowledge without action changes nothing. If today's conversation helped you better understand how your brain works and gave you hope that real change is possible, then I'd love to invite you to take the next steps with us inside the Warriors Haven Inner Circle on School. It's a community built for people who are ready to stop living on autopilot and start building a life rooted in discipline, resilience, and intentional growth. Every week, you'll find practical coaching, mindset training, neuroscience-backed strategies, accountability, and a community of people committed to becoming stronger together. One decision at a time. Again, you can find the Warriors Haven Inner Circle on School.com. That's SKOOL.com. And if this episode resonated with you, I'm excited to share that my first book, The Warriors Haven Edge, is scheduled to release later this year. It's everything I've learned from the military, neuroscience, leadership, and coaching, combined into a practical framework to help you rebuild your identity, reclaim your energy, and create lasting change from the inside out. You can join the exclusive book waitlist today at thewarriorshavenbook.com and be among the first to receive updates, exclusive content, and launch announcements. Again, that waitlist can be found at thewarriorshavenbook.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. If this episode encouraged you, challenged your thinking, or helped you see yourself differently, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps us reach more people who are searching for hope, clarity, and a path forward. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay curious, and never settle for the person you were yesterday. Your next chapter starts with the decision you make today. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, stay ready. I'll catch you on the next episode.